Have you ever noticed that the harder you try to find peace, the farther it seems to drift away? Tonight, you do not have to solve your life. You do not have to untangle every memory, answer every question, or carry every burden that followed you through the day. For this little while, you are allowed to simply be here. Perhaps your body is already asking for rest, yet your mind continues moving from one thought to the next, replaying conversations, imagining tomorrow, revisiting yesterday, searching for an answer that never seems to arrive. If that feels familiar, you are not alone. Across countless generations, people have laid awake beneath different skies, with the very same longing resting quietly inside their hearts. They wanted relief from the endless movement of the mind. They wanted to feel safe enough to close their eyes. They wanted to believe that peace was still possible. Ancient Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us that peace is not something we create by force. It is something we uncover when we stop carrying what was never ours to hold forever. Tonight begins a quiet journey through 12 timeless lessons, each one like a small lantern placed along a peaceful path. You do not need to remember every word. You do not need to analyze every story. Simply allow the sound of this voice to accompany you, as though an old friend were sitting nearby while the night grows still. Before we continue, make yourself as comfortable as you can. Adjust your pillow if it needs adjusting. Let your shoulders soften. Allow your hands to rest wherever they naturally fall. Feel the gentle support beneath your body. There is nothing you must accomplish during these moments. Nothing to prove, nothing to earn. Your breathing already knows what to do. Without forcing anything, notice the next slow breath entering your body. Feel the coolness as it arrives. Then notice the warmth as it leaves. Another breath comes. Another breath goes. With every exhale, imagine placing down one small, invisible weight that you have been carrying throughout the day. Maybe it is a worry about work. Maybe it is uncertainty about someone you love. Maybe it is disappointment in yourself. You do not have to make those feelings disappear. Simply allow them to become a little lighter than they were a few moments ago. One of the greatest misunderstandings we carry is believing that rest only belongs to people whose lives are perfectly organized. Yet the truth is much gentler than that. Rest belongs to everyone. Even those with unanswered questions deserve sleep. Even those with heavy hearts deserve kindness. Even those who have made mistakes deserve another peaceful night. Buddhist teachings never ask us to become perfect before we are worthy of compassion. Instead, they quietly invite us to meet ourselves exactly as we are, without judgment, without rushing, and without fear. Imagine that you are walking toward an old mountain temple just after sunset. The air is cool. Tall trees sway gently in the evening breeze. Somewhere in the distance, a small bell rings once, then fades into silence. You step slowly along a stone path worn smooth by countless travelers who came before you, each carrying worries of their own. Some came seeking answers. Some came seeking forgiveness. Others came because they simply wanted one peaceful night of sleep. The temple does not ask why you have arrived. It welcomes you exactly as you are. That is the spirit of tonight's journey. Nothing about you needs to change before you are welcomed into stillness. Every lesson we explore will invite you to set down one more burden, not through struggle, but through understanding. There is a quiet difference between holding something carefully and gripping it so tightly that it begins to hurt. Much of our exhaustion comes from gripping life with closed hands. We cling to expectations, old conversations, imagined futures, and painful memories, believing that if we think about them long enough, we will finally find relief. Yet the mind often becomes tired, not because it thinks too little, but because it never believes it is allowed to stop. Tonight, you are giving your mind permission to rest. Not forever, just for now. Tomorrow will still be there when morning arrives. Every responsibility waiting for you today can wait a little longer. The emails can wait. The decisions can wait. The uncertainties can wait. Right now, there is only this breath, this moment, and the quiet rhythm of your own heart. As these lessons unfold, you may discover that healing rarely arrives all at once. Instead, it often comes like gentle rain, almost unnoticed at first, until one day the dry ground begins to bloom again. The first lesson waiting for us is beautifully simple, yet it has comforted countless people for centuries. It tells the story of something so ordinary that it is easy to overlook, and yet within it rests a profound invitation to see your own life differently. It asks a quiet question that may change the way you experience every difficult moment from this night forward. What if much of the suffering you carry does not come from the world itself, but from the stories your tired mind has been asked to carry for far too long? As we continue together, allow that question to rest gently beside you, like a candle glowing softly in the darkness, asking for nothing except your willingness to listen. As you continue walking along the quiet stone path, the night seems to grow even gentler, as though the world itself has decided to lower its voice. The cool air brushes softly against your face, and somewhere beyond the ancient trees, a breeze moves through the leaves with a rhythm that asks for nothing except your attention. The small temple ahead remains peaceful, its warm lantern glowing without urgency, reminding every traveler that wisdom never rushes to meet those who seek it. It simply waits until the heart becomes quiet enough to notice. Before you step through the old wooden gate, there is one lesson waiting beside the path, simple enough that many people overlook it, yet profound enough to transform the way an entire life is experienced. Imagine that you are crossing a calm river in a small wooden boat just before sunrise. The water is smooth, reflecting the first gentle colors of the morning sky. Everything feels peaceful until another boat slowly drifts toward you and gently bumps against yours. Your first reaction might be surprise. Perhaps irritation begins to appear. Your thoughts immediately search for someone to blame. Why was that person not paying attention? Why did they interrupt this peaceful moment? Why did they allow this to happen? Then you look more closely and discover that the other boat is completely empty. There is no one inside. Suddenly, something changes. The anger that had already begun to rise quietly disappears. The event itself has not changed. Your boat was still touched by another boat. Yet your experience changes completely because the story inside your mind changes. This simple image has been shared for generations because it reveals something deeply human. Much of our suffering does not come from what happens. It comes from the meaning we immediately attach to what happens. Every day, we meet countless empty boats without realizing it. Someone forgets to return a message. A stranger seems distant. A coworker appears distracted. A family member sounds impatient after a long day. Our tired minds quickly fill the empty space with assumptions. We tell ourselves that we have been rejected, ignored, disrespected, or forgotten. Often, we never stop to ask whether the story we created is actually true. The mind dislikes uncertainty. It prefers an explanation, even if that explanation creates unnecessary pain. Buddhist wisdom gently encourages us to notice this habit with kindness instead of judgment. It reminds us that awareness begins the moment we realize we are adding a story to an event that may have been much simpler than we imagined. Think about how many moments from your own life still live inside your memory. Perhaps there is a conversation that continues to replay late at night. Perhaps someone spoke only a few words, yet your thoughts have repeated those words hundreds of times. Maybe you have wondered whether you should have answered differently, remained silent, spoken sooner, or waited longer. The event lasted only a few moments, but the story has continued for months or even years. The story became heavier than the moment itself. Tonight, there is no need to force those memories away. You do not have to pretend they never happened. Instead, simply become curious. Ask yourself a gentle question. How much of this weight belongs to the event itself, and how much belongs to the story I have continued telling? There is no need to answer immediately. Curiosity is enough. As your breathing remains slow and steady, imagine placing each difficult memory into a small wooden boat and watching it drift across a quiet lake. You are not throwing it away. You are not denying it. You are simply allowing it to exist without gripping it so tightly. Notice how different that feels. The memory may still be present, but your hands are no longer closed around it. This is the beginning of letting go, not forgetting, not escaping, simply loosening the grip that has quietly exhausted your heart for so long. The peaceful temple now stands just a few steps away, and as you approach its entrance, you notice that no one inside seems hurried. The lantern continues glowing without trying to become brighter. The trees continue swaying without asking the wind to move faster. Everything belongs exactly where it is in this moment. Nature never argues with the present. A tree does not wish it had bloomed last month. A stream does not regret the water that has already passed downstream. The moon never apologizes for changing its shape. Everything follows its own rhythm with remarkable patience. Perhaps that is why spending time in nature so often calms the human heart. It quietly reminds us of a rhythm we have forgotten. We spend so much of our lives resisting what already is. We resist the weather. We resist aging. We resist uncertainty. We resist uncomfortable emotions. Yet resistance often becomes heavier than the original experience. Buddhist teachers have long observed that peace begins when awareness becomes greater than reaction. That does not mean becoming emotionless. It means learning to pause before the mind writes another painful story. Tonight, you are practicing that pause. Each slow breath creates a little more space between the world and your reaction to it. Inside that small space lives freedom. Inside that space lives compassion. Inside that space lives rest. Perhaps nothing around you has changed since you first began listening. The room is still the same. Your responsibilities still exist. Tomorrow has not disappeared. Yet something within you may already be softening. The shoulders may feel a little lighter. The breathing may feel a little deeper. The mind may still wander, but perhaps it no longer needs to chase every thought that passes through. Like the empty boat floating gently across still water, many things that once seemed personal may simply be passing through your life for a brief moment before continuing on their own journey. You do not have to climb into every passing boat. You do not have to follow every passing thought. Tonight, you are simply learning to remain quietly present on the peaceful shore of your own awareness. The old wooden gate opens without a sound, and as you step inside, it feels as though the world beyond the temple walls has quietly faded into the distance. Nothing has disappeared, yet everything seems less urgent. The cool evening air still surrounds you, but now it carries the faint scent of cedar and fresh earth after a gentle rain. A single lantern glows beneath the wide roof, casting a warm light that reaches only a few feet before surrendering peacefully to the darkness. There is no need for it to illuminate the entire path. It simply offers enough light for the next step. Perhaps that is how wisdom has always worked. It does not reveal your entire future. It gently lights the place where your feet are resting now. You find a simple wooden bench beneath an ancient tree whose branches have stretched toward the sky for longer than anyone can remember. The tree has witnessed changing seasons beyond counting. Spring blossoms have appeared and fallen. Summers have arrived with warmth and departed with cooler winds. Leaves have turned brilliant shades before drifting quietly to the ground. Winter has covered the landscape in silence before giving way once again to new life. The tree never tried to stop a single season from arriving, nor did it beg any season to remain. It simply stood with quiet patience, allowing each chapter to come and go. As you sit beneath its branches, another lesson begins to unfold, not through grand speeches or complicated ideas, but through something every human being has experienced. Imagine for a moment that while walking through life, you are unexpectedly struck by a sudden difficulty. Perhaps someone disappoints you. Perhaps plans change without warning. Perhaps an opportunity quietly slips away. The first feeling that appears may be sadness, uncertainty, or disappointment. That first experience belongs to being human. Yet almost immediately, another process begins. The mind starts asking endless questions. Why did this happen to me? What could I have done differently? What if everything had gone another way? What does this mean about my future? Little by little, the original experience becomes surrounded by layer after layer of fearful imagination. Buddhist teachers have long described this as adding a second burden to the first. The first experience may have been unavoidable, but the endless story that follows often grows far heavier than the original moment itself. Notice how gently this lesson invites you to observe rather than criticize yourself. Every human mind creates stories. That is what minds naturally do. They search for patterns. They seek explanations. They attempt to protect us by imagining every possible outcome. The difficulty begins only when we believe every story without questioning it. As you continue breathing slowly, think of one concern that has visited your thoughts again and again. There is no need to choose the greatest challenge of your life. Even a small worry will do. Simply notice how often your mind returns to it. Has the repeated thinking actually created peace, or has it quietly increased the weight you have been carrying? There is no shame in whatever answer appears. Awareness itself is already a gentle form of healing. The lantern beside you continues glowing with calm steadiness. It does not struggle against the darkness surrounding it. It simply offers light where it stands. Your awareness can become like that lantern. It does not need to fight every thought. It only needs to notice when another unnecessary story begins to grow. Imagine each thought floating gently across the surface of a quiet pond. Some thoughts remain for only a few moments before drifting away. Others circle back again and again. You do not need to chase them, and you do not need to force them to disappear. Watch them with the same patience the old tree offers every changing season. clouds never apologize for passing across the sky, and the sky never attempts to hold them forever. In the same way, your awareness is wider than any single thought passing through it. This realization is not meant to erase your emotions. It is meant to remind you that your emotions are welcome visitors, not permanent residents. They arrive. They stay for a while. Eventually, they move on, making room for something new. The more gently you allow this rhythm to unfold, the less exhausted your heart becomes. Tonight, there is nothing you need to solve before resting. You are simply learning to recognize the difference between an experience and the endless story built around it. That recognition may seem small, yet it quietly changes everything. Each breath creates another opportunity to release one sentence from the story you have been telling yourself. Perhaps you no longer need to repeat that you are behind, that you are not enough, that tomorrow will certainly be difficult, or that peace belongs only to someone else. Those sentences have become familiar, but familiarity does not make them true. Let them drift away like leaves carried downstream by a gentle current. The river never argues with the leaves. It simply carries them onward. As you remain beneath the sheltering branches, the night grows even quieter. The lantern continues shining. The breeze continues moving softly through the tree. Somewhere beyond the temple walls, the world continues its busy rhythm. Yet here there is only this peaceful moment, this slow breath, and the quiet realization that every time you choose awareness instead of endless storytelling, your heart becomes a little lighter. Your mind becomes a little quieter, and the path before you becomes just a little easier to walk. The quiet bench beneath the ancient tree seems even more welcoming now, as though it has patiently waited through countless nights for weary travelers to pause and remember something they once knew but slowly forgot. The lantern continues to glow with the same calm light, asking for nothing in return. It does not compete with the stars above, nor does it attempt to brighten the entire temple courtyard. It simply fulfills its purpose by illuminating the place where it stands. As you remain seated in this peaceful stillness, you notice something remarkable. The silence around you is no longer empty. It feels alive, gentle, almost as though it is speaking in a language that requires no words. This next lesson arrives through one of nature's simplest gifts. Not far from where you are sitting, a narrow stream flows quietly beside the temple. Its water moves with effortless grace around smooth stones that have rested there for generations. Some rocks are large enough to divide the current for a moment, yet none of them can stop the water from continuing its journey. The stream never becomes frustrated because something stands in its way. It simply adjusts its path and continues forward. There is a quiet wisdom hidden within this ordinary scene. Human hearts often become exhausted because they expect life to move in a perfectly straight line. We imagine that happiness depends on everything unfolding according to our plans. When circumstances change, when people surprise us, when opportunities disappear, or when unexpected delays arrive, we begin struggling against reality itself. Yet the stream teaches a very different way of living. It does not resist the shape of the landscape. It honors what is before it and continues moving with quiet confidence. Perhaps there have been moments when you felt as though life had carried you somewhere you never intended to go. Maybe a dream changed. Maybe a relationship ended differently than you expected. Maybe the future you once imagined slowly transformed into something unfamiliar. Those experiences can leave the heart feeling uncertain, as though the map you trusted has quietly disappeared. The natural response is often to resist. We replay the past. We wonder how everything could have been different. We imagine alternate paths that exist only in memory. Without realizing it, we become like someone standing in the middle of a flowing river, trying to push the water backward toward its source. The effort is endless, and the river never changes direction. Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us that peace is rarely found by controlling the current. Instead, peace begins when we learn to move with it. This does not mean giving up or pretending that disappointment does not exist. It means recognizing that reality has already arrived, whether we welcome it or not. The more gently we accept this simple truth, the less energy we spend fighting what cannot be changed. Acceptance is not weakness. It is the quiet strength that allows the heart to remain open even when life takes an unexpected turn. As you listen to the soft sound of the stream, imagine placing one unfinished worry upon a single floating leaf. There is no need to choose your greatest burden. Even the smallest concern is enough. Watch in your imagination as the leaf settles onto the water and begins drifting downstream. Notice that the current does not hurry. It does not hesitate. It simply carries the leaf exactly where it needs to go. There is no struggle in its movement. There is only trust in the direction of the flow. Your thoughts may continue appearing just as leaves continue falling into the stream, but not every thought asks to be carried forever. Some thoughts arrive only to remind you that they can be released. Feel your breathing becoming slower once again. With every gentle exhale, imagine that another leaf slips into the current. One carries yesterday's regret. Another carries tomorrow's uncertainty. Another holds the pressure you have placed upon yourself to always know the right answer. Watch each one drift farther away until it becomes part of the quiet rhythm of the water. You are not losing anything essential. You are making space for something your heart has been longing for all along. The old tree above you understands this rhythm well. Every autumn it releases leaves that once seemed impossible to live without. It does not cling to them through winter out of fear. It trusts that new growth will return when the season is right. The tree teaches without speaking that letting go is not the end of life. It is often the beginning of renewal. Perhaps your own heart has entered a season that asks for gentleness rather than certainty. Perhaps it is enough, just for tonight, to stop demanding that every unanswered question reveal its solution before you allow yourself to rest. The moon slowly rises higher above the temple roof, casting a silver light across the flowing stream. Nothing about the night feels rushed. Even time itself seems to move more softly here. You begin to realize that peace has never demanded perfection. It has only invited your willingness to remain present with what is real instead of becoming lost in endless resistance. The stream continues its journey without needing permission. The breeze continues moving through the trees without asking where it will go next. The stars shine without comparing themselves to one another. Nature carries no burden of becoming something other than what it already is. In that quiet realization, your own breathing becomes another gentle current flowing naturally through you. You do not have to force it. You do not have to improve it. You simply allow it to come and go with quiet gratitude. As you remain beside the stream, surrounded by the patient wisdom of the temple, you may notice that your thoughts have become just a little softer than they were before. Not because every question has been answered, but because you no longer feel responsible for holding every unanswered question through the night. Like the water moving steadily toward the horizon, your heart is slowly remembering that it was never meant to carry the entire world. It was only meant to take one peaceful breath, then another, allowing life to unfold one gentle moment at a time. The gentle murmur of the stream slowly fades into the background as you rise from the wooden bench and continue walking deeper into the quiet temple grounds. Every step feels lighter than the one before, not because your life has suddenly become free of difficulty, but because your heart is beginning to discover that it does not have to carry every burden with the same tight grip. The smooth stones beneath your feet have been shaped by countless seasons of wind and rain. None of them resisted the passing years. They simply accepted each day as it arrived, allowing time itself to soften every sharp edge. Ahead, you notice a small garden resting peacefully beneath the moonlight. At its center sits a simple ceramic teacup upon a weathered wooden table. There is nothing extraordinary about it. Its surface bears tiny marks left by years of careful use. It has held warm tea through changing seasons, welcomed countless visitors, and quietly served its purpose without asking to be admired. An elderly monk once looked upon a cup like this and smiled before saying, "To me, this cup is already broken." At first, those words seem unusual. Why would anyone think of something beautiful in that way? Yet, the wisdom hidden inside those gentle words has comforted many hearts for generations. The monk did not speak with sadness. He spoke with gratitude, because he understood that every object, every season, every relationship, and every moment exists within the embrace of change. The cup could someday slip from a hand. It could slowly wear with time. It could quietly return to the earth from which it was formed. Knowing this did not make him love the cup less. It allowed him to treasure it more deeply while it rested before him. The same quiet truth reaches far beyond a single cup. Every sunrise is precious because it does not last forever. Every gentle conversation carries meaning because time continues moving forward. Every smile becomes more beautiful because it cannot be held forever. Human hearts often suffer not because life changes, but because we expect certain moments to remain exactly as they are. We hope joyful days will never end. We wish loved ones would never grow older. We quietly believe that the happiest chapters of life should somehow remain untouched by time. Yet nature has always whispered a different lesson. Look around this peaceful garden. Every flower blooming beneath the moon once rested unseen as a tiny seed. Every leaf upon the trees will eventually drift to the ground. Every season gracefully gives way to another without apology. Change is not the opposite of life. Change is one of the ways life expresses itself. As you stand beside the small table, imagine lifting the humble teacup into your hands. Feel its warmth, its gentle weight, its simple beauty. Now imagine appreciating it fully without demanding that it remain exactly as it is forever. Notice how different that feels. Gratitude replaces possession. Wonder replaces fear. Presence replaces anxious anticipation. This is the quiet invitation hidden within the lesson. We are not asked to become detached from love. We are invited to love so deeply that we no longer try to imprison what we cherish. Consider the many moments you have rushed through because your mind was already living somewhere else. Perhaps you were sharing dinner with someone you cared about while secretly worrying about tomorrow. Perhaps you watched a beautiful sunset while thinking about unfinished tasks. Perhaps someone spoke kind words to you, yet your attention remained fixed upon an old disappointment. The present moment quietly offered its gifts, but the mind wandered elsewhere, searching for certainty. Tonight, there is nothing else asking for your attention except this breath and this peaceful journey. The moonlight resting upon the garden does not worry about tomorrow's sunrise. The flowers do not compare themselves with blossoms from another season. Everything here exists completely within the present moment. And because of that, everything appears deeply peaceful. Slowly bring your awareness back to your own breathing. Feel each inhale arriving without effort. Feel each exhale leaving just as naturally. There is nothing to force. There is nothing to improve. Every breath reminds you that receiving and releasing are equally necessary parts of life. You cannot continue inhaling forever, just as you cannot continue holding every memory, every expectation, or every fear. Peace grows quietly whenever we allow ourselves to release as gently as we receive. Imagine placing one cherished memory into the open palms of your hands. Rather than clinging to it, simply thank it for becoming part of your journey. If joy visits again, you will welcome it. If it does not, gratitude still remains. Imagine doing the same with a disappointment. Thank it for what it has quietly taught you, even if the lesson is not yet completely understood. Then allow your hands to open. Nothing is being thrown away. Nothing is being rejected. You are simply trusting that what truly belongs within your life does not require fear to keep it close. The old teacup remains resting peacefully upon the table, beautiful not because it will last forever, but because it exists fully in this single moment beneath the quiet sky. In the same way, your own life does not become meaningful through permanence. It becomes meaningful through presence. The more gently you welcome each passing moment, without demanding that it remain unchanged, the more room your heart creates for peace to quietly settle within it. As the cool night breeze moves softly through the garden once more, you begin to notice that the desire to hold tightly has softened into something quieter. There is appreciation without possession, love without fear, gratitude without anxiety. Beneath the silent stars, surrounded by the patient wisdom of the temple, you slowly understand that letting life change does not diminish its beauty. It reveals the beauty that was there all along. Leaving the quiet garden behind, you continue along a narrow stone path that curves gently toward the heart of the temple. The moon has climbed higher into the sky, bathing the roofs, trees, and worn stones in a soft silver light that seems to slow the passage of time itself. The air is calm, and every sound feels distant except the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. As you walk, you notice a small courtyard where rows of tiny clay pots rest upon simple wooden shelves. Inside each pot grows a different seedling. Some have only begun to push through the soil. Others have already become small green plants, reaching toward the moonlight. None of them appear hurried. None seem worried that another plant has grown taller or faster. Each one quietly follows its own nature, responding to the care it has received day after day. Standing before them, you begin to understand another gentle lesson. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you nurture, and every action you practice becomes like a seed placed into the garden of your own heart. Some seeds grow into peace. Others slowly become worry, resentment, fear, or self-doubt. The remarkable truth is that many of these seeds are watered not by the outside world, but by the attention we give them. Imagine two tiny seeds resting side by side in the same rich soil. One represents gratitude. The other represents constant worry. If each morning you pause to notice one simple blessing, the seed of gratitude quietly receives another drop of water. If each night you replay every mistake and every fear about tomorrow, the seed of worry is also being watered. Over time, both begin to grow. Yet only one will eventually fill the garden with calm. Buddhist wisdom often describes this process not as punishment or reward, but as the natural unfolding of causes and conditions. A flower does not bloom because the earth wishes to reward it. It blooms because countless small conditions have supported its growth. In the same way, a peaceful mind is rarely created by one dramatic moment. More often, it grows through countless small choices that are repeated with patience. Every kind thought becomes a seed. Every moment of awareness becomes another seed. Every breath taken with gentle attention quietly changes the landscape within you. Consider how easily the mind develops habits without asking permission. Perhaps there have been evenings when a single anxious thought appeared before bedtime. At first, it seemed harmless. Then the mind returned to it the next night, and the next, until eventually the worry arrived almost automatically. The habit became so familiar that it seemed to define reality itself. Yet habits, like gardens, are never fixed forever. New seeds can always be planted. Old growth can slowly lose its strength when it is no longer fed. Tonight, you are not asked to erase every fearful thought you have ever experienced. You are simply invited to choose, with quiet intention, which seeds deserve your attention moving forward. Look once more at the peaceful rows of clay pots. Imagine that one of them belongs entirely to you. Within it rests the garden of your own heart. What would you choose to plant if you knew that every gentle act of attention would eventually become part of your inner landscape? Perhaps you would choose patience instead of constant urgency. Perhaps forgiveness instead of endless self-criticism. Perhaps trust instead of the habit of imagining every possible disappointment before it has even arrived. None of these qualities appear overnight. Like the small seedlings before you, they ask only for steady care. As your breathing continues at its natural pace, imagine placing one tiny seed into the warm soil. It carries a simple intention. Maybe the intention is, may I meet myself with kindness. Perhaps it is, may I rest without needing to solve everything tonight. Or perhaps it is simply, may peace quietly grow within me. Cover the seed gently with rich earth. There is no need to dig it up tomorrow to see whether it has grown. Trust that quiet work often happens beneath the surface, long before the first green leaf appears. The moonlight resting across the courtyard reminds you that many of life's most important transformations happens silently. A seed becomes a tree without making a sound. Dawn arrives without asking for applause. The heart also changes in silence, one patient breath at a time. You may not notice every small change as it happens, yet one evening you may suddenly realize that a worry which once felt overwhelming no longer holds the same power. You may discover that you respond with more compassion where anger once appeared, or with greater calm where fear once lived. These quiet changes are never accidents. They are the natural result of the seeds you have chosen to nourish. Before leaving the courtyard, take one final look at the peaceful plants resting beneath the night sky. They ask for no perfection. They simply continue growing according to the care they receive. In many ways, your own heart is no different. It does not ask you to become flawless before it offers peace. It only asks that you gently choose what you wish to cultivate each day. As you continue walking deeper into the temple, carrying nothing except the steady rhythm of your breathing and the quiet image of those patient seedlings, you may begin to sense that the future is not created only by the events waiting ahead. It is also shaped by the quiet garden you tend within yourself. One gentle thought, one kind intention, and one peaceful breath at a time. The temple path grows quieter with every gentle step, and before long, you arrive at an open courtyard where the trees seem to part just enough to reveal the vast night sky above. There is no roof here, no walls separating you from the stars, only the peaceful stillness of the earth meeting the endless heavens. You pause without thinking, and your eyes naturally drift upward. Countless stars rest in the darkness, each shining with its own quiet light. Some appear bright and close. Others seem almost hidden, waiting patiently for your eyes to adjust. The sky does not ask any star to shine more brightly than another. It does not compare one light with the next. It simply holds them all with perfect openness. As you stand beneath this immense canopy, another lesson begins to unfold with remarkable simplicity. Imagine that your mind is not the thoughts moving through it. Imagine that your mind is the night sky itself. Thoughts are like clouds drifting across its vastness. Feelings are like changing weather. Memories rise like mist before dawn and quietly disappear again. Worries gather for a while, then slowly dissolve into the distance. Yet throughout every changing season of the sky itself remains untouched. It is always there, spacious, patient, and complete. Many people spend years believing they are every anxious thought that passes through their minds. A single fearful idea appears, and immediately it feels like an unchangeable truth. A painful memory returns, and it seems as though it will remain forever. Yet, if you quietly observe your own experience, you may notice something extraordinary. No thought has ever stayed permanently. Even the thoughts that seemed impossible to escape eventually faded, if only for a moment, making room for another. Like clouds carried by a gentle wind, every mental experience arrives, remains for a time, and then continues on its way. The difficulty begins only when we chase after each cloud or try to hold it in place. Buddhist teachers have often invited students to become observers instead of collectors. The mind naturally produces thoughts, just as the sky naturally welcomes clouds. There is nothing wrong with either process. Suffering begins when we decide that every passing cloud defines the entire sky. Consider a peaceful afternoon when large white clouds drift slowly overhead. No one becomes frightened because the sky is temporarily hidden. Everyone understands that the clouds are only passing through. Yet, when worry appears within our own minds, we often forget this simple truth. We begin believing that anxiety is our identity rather than a visitor. We believe sadness is who we are rather than something we are experiencing. We mistake temporary weather for the endless sky behind it. Tonight, beneath these quiet stars, allow yourself to see the difference. Close your attention gently around your next breath. As the air enters, simply notice it. As it leaves, notice that too. Now watch your thoughts the same way. You do not have to stop them. You do not have to improve them. Simply notice them appearing and disappearing. One thought may remind you of tomorrow. Another may return to yesterday. A third may wonder whether you are doing this correctly. Smile gently at each one, the way you might smile at a cloud drifting across a beautiful evening sky. There is no need to chase it. There is no need to argue with it. It already knows how to move on by itself. A soft breeze begins moving through the courtyard, stirring the leaves overhead with a gentle whisper. The sound seems to carry an ancient message that has always been present beneath the noise of daily life. You are larger than your passing thoughts. You are deeper than today's emotions. Beneath every changing experience lives a quiet awareness that has remained with you since your earliest memories. It has witnessed every joyful season and every difficult one. It has watched childhood become adulthood. It has seen hopes rise, disappointments fade, friendships begin, and chapters quietly come to an end. Through every change, that silent awareness has remained. It has never demanded perfection. It has simply continued observing with quiet patience. Imagine now that each thought becomes a single cloud floating across the stars above. One cloud carries a worry about the future. Another carries regret from the past. Another whispers an old belief that you are somehow not enough. Watch each one moving gently with the breeze. None of them need to be pushed away. None of them deserve your fear. They move because movement is their nature. Behind every cloud, the stars continue shining exactly as they always have. In the same way, beneath every restless thought, your natural capacity for peace continues to exist, even when it feels hidden. You do not create that peace tonight. You simply remember it. Slowly, almost without noticing, your breathing becomes deeper. The muscles across your face soften. Your shoulders release another small layer of tension. Nothing dramatic has happened, yet something meaningful has quietly changed. Instead of standing inside every passing thought, you have stepped back just enough to watch them come and go. That small shift carries remarkable freedom. It means you no longer have to believe everything your mind says during its most tired moments. It means that a fearful thought can simply be a fearful thought, not a prediction. A memory can simply be a memory, not a prison. An emotion can simply be an emotion, not your permanent home. The stars continue their silent watch above the temple courtyard, reminding you that vastness is always present, even when clouds temporarily fill the sky. As you remain beneath their gentle light, you begin to sense a quiet spaciousness growing within yourself. There is room for every breath, room for every feeling, room even for uncertainty. And within that spaciousness, peace no longer feels like something far away waiting to be discovered. It feels like something that has been patiently waiting beneath every passing cloud, ready to welcome you home whenever you remember to look up. The open courtyard slowly gives way to another quiet path, one lined with smooth stones that glimmer beneath the moonlight, as though each one has been polished by centuries of gentle footsteps. The night has grown deeper now, yet nothing feels darker. Instead, the silence has become warmer, almost welcoming, like an old friend who understands you without asking a single question. As you continue forward, the sound of flowing water fades behind you, replaced by the soft whisper of bamboo swaying together in the cool evening breeze. Their tall green stalks bend with every passing current of air, never resisting, never breaking, always returning to stillness. You pause for a moment, listening carefully, and in that gentle rustling, another quiet lesson begins to reveal itself. At the center of the bamboo grove rests a simple stone bowl filled with clear water. The moon reflects perfectly upon its surface until a single leaf drifts down from above, touching the water with barely a sound. Small circles spread outward, growing wider and wider before slowly disappearing into perfect calm once again. The moon itself has never moved. Only the water has been disturbed. How often has your own heart experienced something similar? A single word spoken without care, an unexpected disappointment, a memory returning when you least expected it. One small moment touches the surface of the mind, and suddenly the entire inner world seems unsettled. Yet, just like the moon reflected in the bowl, your true nature has not been damaged. Only the surface has been stirred. Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us that many people spend their lives trying to control every leaf that might fall into the water. They wish no unpleasant moment would ever arrive. They hope no unexpected emotion would ever appear. But leaves will continue to fall because that is the nature of trees. Thoughts will continue to appear because that is the nature of the mind. Peace is not found by preventing every ripple. Peace is found by trusting that stillness naturally returns when we stop disturbing the water ourselves. Imagine now that you kneel beside the stone bowl. Look carefully into the reflection resting upon its surface. At first, perhaps you see only movement. Tiny circles continue spreading across the water. Then, little by little, they begin to fade. No one forces them to disappear. No one reaches into the bowl to flatten the water with their hands. Stillness returns because stillness has always been the natural state beneath the movement. This simple truth is easy to overlook in daily life. When the mind feels restless, we often believe we must fight our way back to peace. We search for perfect solutions. We replay conversations. We demand answers before we allow ourselves to rest. Yet every attempt to control the water often creates even more ripples. Tonight, you are invited to try something entirely different. Rather than chasing calm, simply allow calm enough space to return on its own. Let your breathing become as effortless as the quiet breeze moving through the bamboo. Feel the air entering gently through your nose. Feel it leaving just as softly. There is no need to make the breath deeper than it wishes to be. There is no need to count it or perfect it. Simply notice that breathing continues without your constant attention, just as the earth continues turning beneath the stars while you quietly rest. As another slow breath leaves your body, imagine that every exhale allows one ripple within the bowl to soften. One ripple may carry an old regret. Another may carry worry about tomorrow. Another may simply be the habit of believing that you always need to stay alert. Watch each circle grow wider, thinner, and finally disappear into complete stillness. Nothing has been forced away. Everything has simply been allowed to complete its own natural rhythm. The bamboo surrounding you offers another quiet reminder. During powerful winds, rigid branches often snap, yet bamboo survives because it knows how to bend. Its strength is hidden inside its flexibility. Human hearts are much the same. We often believe strength means never feeling uncertain, never becoming emotional, never changing direction. Yet true resilience often looks much quieter. It is the willingness to bend without losing ourselves. It is the courage to soften without becoming weak. It is the wisdom to release what no longer serves us instead of carrying it forever. Perhaps there has been something in your own life that you have held on to simply because letting go felt unfamiliar. Maybe it was an old expectation about who you believed you should become. Maybe it was a conversation that never reached the ending you hoped for. Maybe it was a quiet fear that if you relaxed even for one evening, everything would somehow fall apart. The bamboo whispers another possibility. What if life does not ask you to remain rigid? What if it quietly invites you to move with each changing season while keeping your roots planted in kindness and awareness? As you continue listening, the breeze gradually becomes softer, and the bamboo returns once again to complete stillness. The stone bowl reflects the moon as clearly as before. Nothing had to be repaired. Nothing had to be replaced. Time, patience, and gentle acceptance were enough. Your own heart carries that same quiet ability. Beneath every restless thought, beneath every passing emotion, beneath every season of uncertainty, there remains a place within you that already knows how to rest. It has been waiting patiently beneath the surface all along, like the moon waiting to appear once the water becomes calm. Standing once again upon the moonlit path, you notice that your steps have become slower without effort. The night no longer feels like something to pass through before morning arrives. It feels like a peaceful companion, inviting you to trust that every ripple eventually settles. Every season eventually changes, and every sincere breath gently leads you back to the stillness that has never truly left your heart. And the bamboo grove gradually opens into a wide clearing where the temple garden seems to meet the edge of an ancient orchard. The trees here are older than any living memory, their broad branches stretching toward the sky with quiet confidence. Moonlight filters gently through thousands of leaves, painting soft patterns across the ground that shift with every whisper of wind. The air feels cooler now, carrying the faint fragrance of blossoms that continue to bloom even in the silence of the night. As you walk beneath the trees, your footsteps naturally slow until they almost disappear. It feels as though the entire garden has entered a sacred pause, inviting you to notice something that can only be seen when the mind itself becomes unhurried. Not far ahead, a single piece of ripe fruit hangs from a low branch, glowing softly beneath the moonlight. It seems almost ordinary, yet your attention is gently drawn toward it. You remember hearing an old story many years ago about a traveler who found himself surrounded by uncertainty. Instead of allowing fear to steal every remaining moment, he noticed a single ripe fruit growing nearby. For one quiet breath, he stopped chasing yesterday and stopped worrying about tomorrow. He simply tasted what life was offering in that very moment. That brief moment of presence became more valuable than all the anxious thoughts that had filled his mind before. Tonight, the lesson hidden inside that story feels closer than ever. How often have you postponed peace because you believed it could only arrive after every problem had been solved? How many beautiful moments quietly passed by while your attention remained fixed on what had already happened or what might happen next? The mind has a remarkable ability to overlook the gentle gifts already resting within reach. It becomes so occupied searching for the perfect future that it forgets to experience the quiet miracle of the present. Yet life has always unfolded only here, only now, only within this single breath. As you continue walking beneath the orchard trees, notice how nothing around you is rushing. The branches do not hurry the fruit toward ripeness. The moon does not race across the sky. Even the breeze seems content to move at exactly the speed the night requires. Nature has never measured its worth by how quickly it arrives somewhere else. It expresses itself fully in each unfolding moment. Perhaps this is why spending time among trees has such a calming effect upon the human heart. Without speaking a single word, they gently remind us of a rhythm we once understood before life became crowded with endless urgency. Imagine reaching toward the low branch and carefully holding the ripe fruit in your hands. Feel its smooth surface, its comforting weight, its quiet invitation to be fully present. Before tasting it, pause for just one slow breath. Notice the cool air against your skin. Notice the peaceful sounds surrounding you. Notice the steady rhythm of your own heartbeat. There is nothing extraordinary happening, and yet everything feels quietly complete. This is the hidden richness of the present moment. It rarely arrives with excitement or dramatic change. More often, it reveals itself through simple experiences that become extraordinary only when we truly notice them. Think about how many evenings have slipped away while your thoughts wandered somewhere else. Perhaps you sat beside someone you loved while your attention remained occupied by unfinished work. Perhaps you watched rain falling outside your window while mentally replaying an old conversation. Perhaps you lay in bed hoping for sleep while your mind insisted on rehearsing tomorrow before it had even arrived. The present patiently waited each time, asking for nothing except your awareness. Tonight, it waits once again with the same gentle patience. It has never become offended by being overlooked. It simply continues offering itself, moment after moment, breath after breath. Slowly bring your attention back to the orchard around you. Hear the leaves moving softly overhead. Feel the cool earth supporting every step beneath your feet. Sense the gentle stillness surrounding the trees that have quietly stood through countless seasons without once demanding that time move differently. Every ring hidden within their trunks tells the story of change accepted rather than resisted. Drought came and passed. Rain returned. Winters arrived. Springs followed. Through every season, the trees remained fully rooted in the place where life asked them to stand. Perhaps your own heart is learning the same quiet trust. Not the trust that tomorrow will unfold exactly as you hope, but the deeper trust that whatever tomorrow brings, You will meet it one breath at a time instead of carrying it all tonight. The fruit still rests gently in your hands. As you imagine tasting it, allow yourself to experience only this single moment. Notice its sweetness without comparing it to another. Notice its freshness without wishing it would last forever. Gratitude does not ask a beautiful moment to remain. Gratitude simply recognizes its presence while it is here. That simple difference quietly transforms the heart. The need to grasp begins to soften. The fear of losing begins to loosen its hold. Appreciation quietly replaces possession. As you continue deeper into the orchard, you begin to notice something subtle yet profound. Your breathing has become slower without effort. Your thoughts arrive with less urgency. Even when a memory briefly appears, it no longer demands all of your attention. It drifts by like a leaf carried gently across the path by the evening breeze. You acknowledge it kindly, then return once again to the living moment surrounding you. This gentle returning is not failure. It is the practice itself. Every time awareness comes home to the present, another small doorway opens within the heart. Beyond that doorway waits the quiet peace you have been seeking, not hidden in some distant future, but patiently resting within the simple miracle of this very breath, this very night, and this very moment beneath the silent trees. The orchard slowly gives way to the oldest part of the temple, where the trees become fewer, and the quiet opens into a broad stone terrace overlooking a peaceful valley. The first hint of dawn has not yet appeared, yet the darkness no longer feels mysterious. Instead, it feels gentle, like a warm blanket wrapped around the earth while everything rests. A cool breeze moves softly across the terrace, carrying the faint scent of pine and fresh grass from the hills below. At the center of the terrace stands a weathered stone statue with both hands open, palms facing the sky. There is something deeply calming about those open hands. They are not reaching for anything. They are not holding tightly to anything. They simply remain open, relaxed, and completely at peace. As you stand before the statue, another quiet lesson begins to unfold without a single spoken word. Think for a moment about what happens when you close your hand tightly around a handful of sand. The harder you squeeze, the more the grains slip through your fingers. Yet, if your hand remains open, the sand rests gently in your palm without struggle. Many of us spend our lives holding our hopes, relationships, achievements, and even our identities with a closed fist. We become afraid that if we loosen our grip for even a moment, everything meaningful will disappear. Yet the strange truth is that fear itself often becomes heavier than the thing we are trying so desperately to protect. Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us that attachment is different from love. Love allows something to breathe. Attachment often asks it to stay exactly the same forever. Love appreciates. Attachment clings. Love trusts. attachment fears. The heart quietly becomes exhausted whenever it mistakes one for the other. Perhaps there is something in your own life that you have been holding with tightly closed hands. It may not even be a person. It could be an old dream that no longer fits the person you have become. It could be the image of who you believe you should have been by now. It could be the hope that every unanswered question will someday receive a perfect explanation. The more tightly those expectations are held, the heavier they become. Yet, notice something remarkable. The statue before you is completely still, not because it possesses everything, but because it has released the need to possess anything at all. Its open hands express quiet confidence. They say, "Whatever belongs in this moment may rest here. Whatever needs to continue its journey may do so with my blessing." Imagine now that you slowly lift your own hands in front of you. In your imagination, they are gently cupped beneath the moonlight. Within them rests everything you have been carrying tonight. Every expectation, every memory, every unanswered question, every hope, every disappointment. There is no need to identify each one individually. Simply notice their weight resting quietly in your palms. Without rushing, allow your fingers to soften just a little. You are not dropping anything. You are simply releasing the tension that has been wrapped around it. Feel the difference between holding and gripping. One allows peace. The other creates strain. This small movement becomes a powerful lesson. So much of our suffering does not come from life itself. It comes from the effort required to keep everything exactly where we believe it should remain. The breeze grows slightly stronger, moving gently across the open terrace before continuing into the valley below. It does not ask permission to move. It does not apologize for changing direction. Watching it, you begin to realize that life itself has always been like this quiet wind. It cannot be captured. It cannot be controlled. It can only be experienced while it passes through. The more willingly we move with it, the lighter our journey becomes. As your breathing settles into a slow, natural rhythm once again, imagine every exhale gently opening your hands a little farther. One breath releases the pressure to always have the right answer. Another releases the need to compare your journey with anyone else's. Another releases the quiet fear that peace depends upon everything outside of you unfolding perfectly. Little by little, your hands become completely relaxed. They remain open, not because they expect to lose everything, but because they have remembered that true security has never come from holding more tightly. It has always grown from trusting more deeply. The stars above continue shining with the same quiet steadiness they have offered throughout the night. They illuminate the valley without trying to own it. The moon offers its gentle light without asking the earth to remain exactly as it is. Every part of nature gives freely because it understands a rhythm that human hearts often forget. What is freely offered becomes beautiful. What is tightly imprisoned slowly loses its joy. Perhaps this is why gratitude feels so peaceful. Gratitude never demands permanence. It simply whispers thank you for this moment while it is here. Standing upon the ancient terrace, you begin to notice a quiet transformation taking place within yourself. Nothing dramatic has changed around you. The night is still the same. The temple remains silent. The valley stretches peacefully into the distance. Yet inside, something has become lighter. The invisible weight that once rested across your shoulders no longer feels quite as heavy. It is not because every problem has disappeared. It is because your hands have finally remembered how to remain open. The path ahead no longer asks you to carry life with fear. It simply invites you to walk with trust, allowing each new step to arrive in its own time. And as you continue beneath the quiet sky, you discover that peace has never asked you to control tomorrow. It has only asked you to fully receive this breath, this moment, and this gentle night with open hands and an open heart. The stone terrace gradually disappears behind you as the path leads toward the quiet heart of the temple. The night has become wonderfully still. Even the breeze seems to move with greater gentleness now, as though it understands that every sound should honor the silence surrounding this sacred place. Ahead, a small meditation hall stands with its doors open, welcoming anyone who enters without expectation. A single candle burns inside, its soft flame rising and falling almost imperceptibly. It does not struggle against the darkness. It simply offers light where it has been placed. You step inside and sit upon a smooth, woven mat. The room is simple. Wooden beams stretch overhead. A small bell rests quietly beside the candle. Nothing inside asks for attention. And because of that, everything becomes beautiful. As your eyes settle upon the quiet flame, another lesson gently unfolds. There are moments in life when the person who needs your kindness the most is not someone standing beside you. It is the quiet version of yourself that has been patiently waiting to be seen. Many people spend years learning how to encourage others while speaking harshly to themselves. They forgive strangers for simple mistakes, but silently replay their own imperfections long after the moment has passed. They offer understanding to friends who feel tired or overwhelmed, yet refuse to grant themselves the same gentle compassion. Without realizing it, they carry an invisible burden heavier than anything the world has placed upon them. Perhaps you know that feeling. Perhaps there have been evenings when you lay awake, not because of what someone else had said, but because of the words you continued saying to yourself. Maybe you believed you should have achieved more by now. Maybe you questioned a decision you made months or even years ago. Maybe you quietly compared your journey to someone else's, and decided you had somehow fallen behind. These thoughts often arrive with familiar voices, repeating the same old stories until they begin to sound like truth. Yet the candle before you offers another possibility. It does not criticize itself for being smaller than the moon. It does not wish it burned brighter than the stars. It simply shines with quiet faithfulness, exactly as it is. Imagine placing your hand gently over your heart. Feel the steady rhythm that has remained with you through every joyful season and every difficult one. Long before you learned to speak, before you understood success or failure, before you carried expectations about who you should become, your heart was already quietly beating, asking for nothing except the chance to continue. It has never demanded perfection from you. It has only continued its patient work through every chapter of your life. What if, just for tonight, you chose to speak to yourself with the same kindness your heart has always shown you? Not because you have finally earned compassion, but because compassion was never meant to be a reward. It was always meant to be a way of living. Buddhist wisdom often reminds us that suffering becomes lighter when it is met with understanding instead of resistance. This truth applies not only to others, but also to ourselves. Imagine sitting beside your younger self for a few quiet moments. Picture the child who once dreamed without fear of failure, who found wonder in simple things, who believed the world was wide with possibility. Look into those gentle eyes and ask yourself a simple question. Would you speak to that child the way you sometimes speak to yourself today? If the answer is no, perhaps tonight marks the beginning of something new. Perhaps tonight you allow your inner voice to become softer. Instead of saying, "I should have done better," you quietly whisper, "I was doing the best I could with what I understood then." Instead of saying, "I am not enough," you gently remind yourself, "I am still growing," just as every tree in the temple garden continues growing season after season. Growth has never required perfection. It has only required patience. The candle continues burning without hurry. Occasionally, the flame leans slightly as a gentle current of air passes through the room. Then it quietly stands upright once again. It does not judge itself for wavering. It simply continues shining. There is profound wisdom in that small movement. Your own peace does not disappear simply because difficult emotions visit from time to time. Like the flame, you may sway with changing circumstances, yet your deepest nature remains capable of returning to stillness again and again. Take another slow breath. As you inhale, imagine drawing warmth into your heart. As you exhale, imagine releasing one old sentence that has weighed upon you for far too long. There is no need to force anything. One gentle breath is enough. Another follows naturally. Then another. Little by little, the room itself seems to breathe with you. The candle glows. The silence deepens. The wooden walls hold the quiet without effort, you begin to notice that the heaviness inside you has softened, not because every question has been answered, but because you are no longer standing against yourself. For perhaps the first time in a long while, you are standing beside yourself. There is remarkable peace in that simple change. Outside, the stars continue their patient journey across the sky. Inside the meditation hall, the small flame remains steady, reminding you that true gentleness is never weakness. It is the quiet strength that allows the heart to heal without rushing, to forgive without forgetting, and to rest without first demanding perfection. As you remain seated in the warm glow of the candle, listening to the calm rhythm of your own breathing, you slowly realize that the greatest kindness you can offer the world may begin with the kindness you finally choose to offer yourself. One peaceful breath, one gentle thought, and one quiet moment at a time. The candle continues to glow quietly behind you as you leave the meditation hall and step once more into the cool night air. The temple grounds seem almost dreamlike now, wrapped in a peaceful silence so complete that even your footsteps seem to dissolve into it. The path rises gently toward the highest place on the mountain, where the oldest building of the temple quietly watches over the valley below. The sky has begun to change in ways so subtle that only a patient heart would notice. The stars still shine with quiet brilliance, yet along the distant horizon, there is the faintest suggestion that morning will someday arrive. Not yet, but soon enough. You walk without hurry, feeling the smooth stone beneath your feet, until you reach a simple wooden platform overlooking forests, rivers, and distant hills stretching beyond sight. There are no grand decorations here. Only a single wind chime hangs beneath the roof, moving softly whenever the mountain breeze passes through. Each delicate tone appears for only a brief moment before melting back into silence. The sound is beautiful precisely because it does not try to remain. You stand quietly, listening, and another lesson gently opens within your heart. Many people spend their lives searching for peace as though it were hidden somewhere far away, waiting beyond one more achievement, one more relationship, one more perfect circumstance, or one more answer to a question that has followed them for years. The search itself becomes exhausting. We begin believing that peace is a destination rather than a quiet presence that has patiently remained with us all along. The wind chime offers another possibility. Notice how it never creates the wind. It simply responds when the breeze arrives. The beautiful sound was always a possibility resting within the chime itself. It only needed the right moment to reveal what had already been there. Perhaps your own peace has been like that all along. Not something you must build from nothing, but something gently uncovered whenever the noise begins to settle. Think back over the quiet journey of this night. You have walked beside flowing water that never resisted its path. You have watched leaves drift across still pools without disturbing the moon forever. You have stood beneath stars that welcomed every passing cloud. You have opened your hands instead of gripping life with fear. You have spoken to your own heart with kindness instead of harsh judgment. None of these moments created a new person. They simply revealed the gentle wisdom that had been waiting beneath the endless movement of the mind. It is much like polishing an old window covered with dust. The sunlight does not suddenly appear because of your effort. It was already shining outside. You merely removed what had been hiding it from view. Imagine standing before a clear mountain lake just before dawn. The surface is perfectly calm. Looking into it, you do not see only your reflection. You see the sky, the trees, the stars, and the quiet world resting together in complete harmony. Then, imagine tossing a handful of pebbles into the water. Waves spread in every direction. The reflections disappear for a while, yet nothing in the sky has actually changed. The stars remain where they have always been. The mountains still stand in perfect silence. Only the surface has become unsettled. In many ways, the human heart is just like that peaceful lake. Beneath every restless thought, every passing fear, every old regret, and every anxious expectation, there remains a stillness that has never truly been lost. It only becomes difficult to recognize when the surface grows crowded with constant movement. Tonight, perhaps for the first time in a long while, you have allowed many of those ripples to settle naturally, not by force, but through gentle attention. The mountain breeze moves once again through the wooden chime, creating another soft melody that quickly fades into silence. You notice that the silence after the sound feels just as beautiful as the sound itself. Life often teaches this same lesson. We tend to notice the exciting moments while overlooking the quiet spaces between them. Yet, it is often within those quiet spaces that the heart finds its deepest rest. The pauses between breaths, the stillness before sunrise, the peaceful moments when nothing needs to happen at all. These are not empty moments. They are the places where awareness quietly returns home. Slowly close your eyes in your imagination and bring all of your attention to the simple rhythm of breathing. Feel the coolness of each inhale. Feel the gentle warmth of each exhale. Nothing more is required. You do not need to become wiser than you already are. You do not need to understand every mystery of life before allowing yourself to rest. You only need to notice what has been quietly supporting you all along. The earth beneath your feet, the breath within your body, the steady beating of your heart, the awareness listening to these words. None of these have ever abandoned you, even during your most uncertain days. They have remained patiently present, waiting for the moment you would finally notice them again. As the night slowly moves toward its final hours, you begin to understand something that cannot easily be explained with words alone. Peace was never hiding from you. It was waiting beneath the noise. Compassion was never beyond your reach. It was waiting beneath self-judgment. Hope was never lost. It was waiting beneath fear. The quiet joy you have searched for through so many restless nights has never belonged to tomorrow. It has always belonged to this living moment, resting gently within each breath you are willing to receive. The wind chime offers one final soft note before becoming still again. The stars continue shining above the valley. The forests remain wrapped in peaceful darkness. And standing upon the mountain in the gentle embrace of the coming dawn, you realize that nothing essential has been added to your heart during this journey. Instead, layer by layer, the unnecessary has simply fallen away, leaving behind the quiet presence that had been patiently waiting for you from the very beginning. And the first light of morning has not yet crossed the horizon, yet the mountain no longer belongs entirely to the night. Everything seems suspended in a quiet moment between darkness and dawn, a place where the world itself appears to breathe more slowly. You remain standing upon the wooden platform, listening as the last gentle notes of the wind chime disappear into the stillness. Nothing asks you to move. Nothing asks you to decide. For the first time in what may feel like a very long while, there is nowhere else you need to be except here. You slowly turn toward the temple behind you. The stone paths, the peaceful gardens, the bamboo grove, the quiet stream, the old orchard, the meditation hall, and the mountain terrace now seem connected, not as separate places, but as chapters of a single gentle journey. Every step you have taken tonight has quietly reflected something already living inside your own heart. The flowing stream reminded you that life continues moving, even when the mind wishes to remain in yesterday. The still bowl of water revealed that peace never disappeared beneath the ripples. It only waited for stillness to return. The ancient trees whispered that every season belongs, even those that seem difficult while they are unfolding. The open hands upon the stone statue gently showed that what is held with trust becomes lighter than what is held with fear. The small candle inside the meditation hall offered its silent lesson that kindness begins within, and that the quiet words you speak to yourself become the atmosphere in which your heart learns to live. The wind chime taught you that peace is not something created by force, but something revealed whenever the endless noise begins to settle. None of these lessons asked you to become someone new. They simply invited you to remember someone you had quietly forgotten beneath years of rushing, worrying, striving, comparing, and carrying more than any heart was ever meant to hold alone. Now, as the sky slowly begins to soften with the first hint of approaching dawn, allow yourself to notice your breathing once again. There is no need to change it. Simply notice that it has remained with you through every step of this journey. While thoughts wandered, the breath remained. While emotions changed, the breath remained. While seasons came and went throughout your life, the breath remained, faithfully carrying you through moments of celebration and moments of uncertainty alike. It has never asked you to earn its presence. It has simply continued, one quiet breath after another. Place your attention gently upon the feeling of your body becoming heavier, calmer, and more deeply supported. Imagine the weight of your shoulders melting downward. Feel the muscles around your eyes becoming soft. Allow your jaw to relax without effort. Let every small space that has been holding tension quietly discover that it no longer needs to protect you tonight. The earth beneath the mountain has carried forests, rivers, storms, sunshine, and countless generations without complaint. In the same way, allow the bed beneath your body to carry you now. You do not need to hold yourself upright any longer. You do not need to keep watch over every unfinished thought. You do not need to solve tomorrow before allowing yourself to rest. Tomorrow will arrive in its own perfect time, just as every sunrise always has. Tonight asks for nothing except your willingness to let go for a little while. If a thought appears, greet it gently, then let it continue on its journey like a cloud, crossing the open sky. If a memory visits, thank it for coming, then allow it to drift away like a leaf carried downstream. If an emotion quietly rises, make room for it without trying to change it. Everything that arrives already knows how to leave when it is no longer held with fear. You have spent this night discovering that peace does not come from controlling every experience. It grows whenever the heart remembers how to trust the present moment. Listen carefully to the silence surrounding you now. It is not empty. It is filled with the quiet songs of distant trees, the patient strength of ancient mountains, the gentle rhythm of unseen streams, and the steady wisdom of the earth itself. That same quiet presence lives within you. It always has, even during your busiest days, even through your most uncertain nights. It never disappeared. It simply waited beneath the surface, like clear water beneath gentle ripples, like stars waiting beyond passing clouds, like morning waiting beyond the longest night. There may still be questions in your life that remain unanswered, and that is perfectly all right. There may still be dreams that are unfolding more slowly than you expected, and that is perfectly all right. There may still be chapters of your story that you cannot yet understand, and that is perfectly all right. Life has never required complete certainty before offering moments of profound peace. It has only asked that you arrive fully for the breath you are living right now. As the eastern horizon slowly brightens, Imagine gathering every lesson from this quiet journey into your heart, not as ideas to remember, but as gentle companions that will remain with you long after this night has passed. Carry the patience of the stream. Carry the openness of the sky. Carry the flexibility of the bamboo. Carry the gratitude of the orchard. Carry the kindness of the candle. Carry the trust of the open hands. Carry the stillness of the mountain. Above all, carry the quiet understanding that you have never been separated from the peace you were searching for. It has been walking beside you through every season of your life, waiting for the moment you became still enough to recognize it. And now, with nothing left to hold, nothing left to chase, and nothing left to prove, allow yourself to settle completely into this peaceful moment. Let your breathing become softer. Let your thoughts become lighter. Let your heart become quieter. Let this gentle silence wrap around you like the comforting embrace of the mountain itself. Rest now. Rest deeply. Rest peacefully. The night has carried you exactly where you needed to be. And in this quiet place between one breath and the next, you may finally discover that coming home has never meant traveling somewhere else. It has always meant gently returning to the calm, compassionate, and unshakable peace that has been waiting within you all along.